talking speech prepared by lots of people in central office, but I'm not going to deliver it because I just want to tell you how I feel. I have to say, I've been involved in anti-racist activity as long as I've been a Conservative, actually slightly longer. For a time I was National Joint Chairman of the Committee Against Racism. And I want to make it absolutely clear that the Conservative Party will never, ever, under any circumstances whatsoever, play one community against the other. And I utterly reject that as an idea. And I also want to address the idea in terms of British identity and where the British Gujarati community fits into that. And I want to be really frank with you. If the British Gujarati community were to leave, then Britain would be the poorer for it. The nature of our society has changed. So whether you are a Hindu or a Muslim or a Jew or a Christian or people who believe in absolutely nothing, without your British identity would be nothing. So when we kind of talk about how people fit in, it's about ensuring that the modern Britain fits in with everybody. And I have to say, I resent the idea of people talking about something as British as Diwali not being celebrated. I've celebrated Diwali since 1969, every single year, and I've gone to some magnificent parties, and I've been proud to celebrate that with Hindu friends. It's become part of the calendar. It's not just a polite thing you go to, it's something that throughout the mill towns of Yorkshire and through Birmingham and Leicester, people actually look forward to. And to take that away would be to take something away from British identity. Now, what I want to see, well, what I did see, I was brought up in Bradford, now mostly in terms of Asians there, it's from the Punjab, but there were some Gujaratis, and particularly after what sadly happened in the in the mid-80s. A lot more Gujaratis came in from East Africa. And what we kind of saw there were people who came with virtually absolutely nothing. And they did the kind of things that you'd expect. They worked on the buses, like the father of my friend Sabit Javed, or they had a corner shop, or they started. Sometimes they had 2 or 3 jobs. They worked hard, they paid their taxes, they made a difference to the town. And now I'm old enough to see their children, and I'm actually nearly old enough to see their grandchildren, this second and third generation. And these are people who who helped out in the family shop or helped out their dad and their mum, but now you see them as accountants and dentists and engineers, people who are going to make a very big difference to this country. And I think that, there is a good thing to say. It's nice to see it, Keith. But in terms of Leicester, in terms of the revival of Leicester as an important city, the Gujarati community played an enormous part in putting that together. So sure, I think we need to address a number of issues. I was sad to hear the problems with regard to burials. I'm sad to see that some people feel that they've been discriminated against. I do see from the very latest figures in terms of the increasing number of people from an Indian heritage background, the increased number in employment. I think something like 95,000 extra people in employment since 2010. I'm pleased to see the increase in apprenticeships. I'm pleased to see the increase in the number of people from an Asian background going on to university. And the reason I'm pleased to see that is because it all makes Great Britain that last bit stronger. Now I'm going to say I don't want to get into trouble in front of the friend of the Prime Minister and so I'm an ex-chairman as well. But I would be kind of mortified if the idea was that the Gujarati community voted en bloc, Conservative or Labour or Democrat, because the Gujarati community is made up of individuals, and I want to see that community celebrated by being involved with the different political parties. I also want the Gujarati community to be like everybody else in the United Kingdom, to have complete contempt for the political parties as well. Because, you know, that's the way, if you're going to say something about the Gujarati community, it's been people who are enormous amount of self-reliance, enormous amount of self-respect, enormous amount of respect for the community. I was in Bradford a couple of weeks ago, and what's happened to the political culture inside that great city has appalled me in terms of deals being done and family influence in terms of getting votes. And that's something that the Gujarati community has never engaged with, and I hope to goodness it never will engage. Now, in terms of trying to ensure that people are able to walk the streets of our capital and our nation, feeling proud to come from a Gujarati background, whether it be wearing women's traditional dress, and in March I think it's particularly brave to be able to do that, or whether it's wearing the turban. That's just expressing another aspect of being British. Now there are some political parties that talk in terms of the Asian community as being the fifth colony in British life. And that is, I think, to fundamentally misunderstood the nature of British life. In terms of the vibrance of our education establishments, in terms of the vibrance of the National Health Service, in terms of the vibrance that you see in streets, we would be the lesser without a strong British Gujarati community. So my essential message to you is this: be proud of your heritage. It's a fine heritage. It's a heritage of achievement. It's a heritage of hard work. But be proud of Britain. Be proud of your home country. Because I have to tell you that we are tremendously proud of our citizens, of the way that they work. And exercise your rights, but exercise your rights as a citizen of the United Kingdom. I mean, there are some specific problems that we have to take care of with regard to the ageing population, ageing Muslims, ageing Hindus, that I think is going to pose all kinds of specific problems. But in terms of people's attitude, in terms of family, of trying to keep people in the community for as long as possible. But I've seen some very good work in London and in the Midlands that I think gradually we're going to have to deal with, and to ensure that people are treated with enormous dignity. But see that not as something special. That's something about your right as a British Gujarati to ensure that the system is operated in a way that ensures that citizens fit in, that the state fits in with what the citizen needs, rather than the other way around, because it's your right, because you live here, because you're part of Britain, to achieve that. So, my dear friends, thank you very much for the possibility of speaking to you. Thank you very much for the friendship that you offered to me over the last 5 years at various events. And it is good to see people from the Labour Party are with us. You know, I'll tell you a shocking truth about politicians is that people from different political parties do want to work closely with different communities, do have a point of view that should be respected. That's the nature of British politics. So it's a great privilege, it's a great honour to be here, and it's a great honour to address fellow British citizens. Thank you.